because what God had been saying to me contradicted so much of my doctrines and my understanding. And I really wanted to know. So I'm speaking just like this, fumbling and carrying on. In the end, I said, well, that's about it. I said, I'm also having a problem with this hell thing. I mean, hell itself. Did God really burn people like that? You know, forever and ever and ever? And anyway, we closed the meeting, that was that. And those people got up and they turned around and they walked out that hall. Not one of them came and said goodbye or kissed my foot or anything at all. And I'm standing there like a bump on a log. I thought, what have I done? What have I done? And one man came back. He didn't come back, you know, because he understood what I was saying or anything. He came back because I think there was a little bit of the love of God in his heart. And he just come back and said, well, Des, he said, I don't know what's happened here, but, you know, something's happened. Well, it wasn't that long before the man in charge of the conference center, who was a personal friend of mine, came in and said, Des, you've blown it now, mate. You've blown your ministry. I said, what? I said, what have I done? Well, he said, I don't know, I wasn't here. I didn't hear what you said. But he said, I've had people in my office saying, if you ever come back to the conference center, they won't come. And they'll tell everybody else not to come. Oh, man, I wanted to cry. I really did. I wanted to cry. What have I done? I never told anybody that, you know, that there was no hell. I'm just asking them, please help me here, can you? But they didn't want to help me. They wanted to get rid of me. And that's after years where they had hugged me and said, Des, we love you. But anyway, that was the end of my conference ministry. And it so got to me, and I believe that was God too. I said, well, I think I'm going to fix the whole thing now. I'm going to resign from the ministry. I've had enough. Because I'm now unsure about some things. And until I become sure and certain, I don't think I can continue in the ministry. So I resigned. I resigned from the pastorate and everything. And I took down all the shingles, so no more Pastor Des Wild or anything. I resigned and I abandoned all titles and whatever else, you know. And I just went back to being Des Wilder. I started my own workshop again, and away I went. And slowly, of course, everybody was told, don't go near that guy. He's bad news. Nobody's to go near him. And of course, they're all very obedient to their pastors, so they didn't come near me. But eventually, you know, because I had an engineering shop and they wanted some work done, so they would come and see me, and while I'm doing their job, they'd stand there and talk. They didn't even want to go away. They wanted to ask me questions about this and about that. And I mean, I wasn't preaching it at all. I was really searching for the truth. I wanted to know the truth beyond a shadow of doubt. And it took God 2 years. I never preached anywhere. But after 2 years, I began to be invited to home churches and what have you, and God began to teach me. And here I am today, after 38 years.
Thank you.
It's been an interesting journey, a very interesting journey. But I want to tell you, beloved, there is so much that we need to understand about God. So much. Because the church has destroyed us with false knowledge. Because I learned from men. I mean, my theology came from men. I got my theology from the School of Theology in London. That's where my theology came from. But I only got to about 3.5 years of it out of a 4-year course, and I quit. I said, I've had enough of this. I would put in my assignments and I'd get it back covered with red ink, please answer according to your textbook. And I write back and say, I don't believe the textbook.
That'll do it.
And so I was, having a lot of trouble. So there's only one way to fix this. I just resigned. Because, you see, I was doing that because pastors told me, brother, if you don't get your degree, you won't be anybody. You've got to get your degree to be somebody. Well, I decided I didn't want to be anybody. I said, I'll just be Des Walter, that's all. If that's not good enough, Lord, then I'm sorry, you'll have to find somebody else. He said, that's all I want. I just want you. I don't want any degrees. I just want you. And he began to teach me. And I want to tell you, beloved, you've got to come to the same place too. Because I'll tell you, we are not going to have meetings like this always. These meetings are going to come to an end.
Yes.
There'll be a day when I believe that God has established His Word in the heart of His people,
Yes.
and there will be enough of God's people that will be walking in the truth that the testimony of God will be in shoe leather from that time on.
Yes.
It won't be somebody standing out here like this wanting to share with you. And I understand that. And I tell you today, beloved, it's not me that's going to help you to know God. It's God that's going to help you to know God.
Yes.
And the best I can do is simply to bring you a knowledge that you can use in order to know that God
Yes.
at this time. Because many people have not really tapped into God. They've not really listened to His voice. That's the big deal today. I want to tell you, if you people are not hearing the voice of God today in all that you've heard, it's not going to mean a whole lot to you. You can take all the notes you want to, but until the truth becomes a part of your life, it's not going to affect you. So when Jesus Christ took that little book, He broke the seals of that book. And He basically said to the world, this is who you are. Because the world had not discovered who they were. The Old Testament did not reveal that to them. Of course, if they had read, Genesis 1, 2, and 3, they might have discovered something. But see, they didn't have a Bible in those days. The only Bible they had was the first 5 books of the Bible, but they were on scrolls in the synagogues. That's all. And so if you weren't a Jew, you wouldn't have even seen those. But even when they saw them, they did not have the Holy Spirit that was able to give them understanding of what they were reading. So they were reading it just like I was reading it before, and I didn't have any understanding either. But see, then, when God got hold of me, He began to reveal Himself to me. And I began to understand who I was. And I made a pact with God. I made a covenant with God. I said, Lord, I will go anywhere you direct me to go. I will say anything you want me to say. But you have to tell me. Because I'm not going to take orders from men anymore as far as the ministry is concerned.
Yes.
Because that's what I'd done before.
Yes.
Why was I a pastor? I was a pastor because God had given me understanding in many things about the book, but not so much about Him. But I knew about the book. At the age of 12, I could take you through the tabernacle and tell you what the furniture meant, what the colors meant, and etc., etc., etc. And everybody thought that was wonderful. In a big church, about 800 people, the last one that I was pastoring in, I would have 250 people in the Bible study.